Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is going to be an interesting one because it's what you asked for. It's a Q&A session.
So a few weeks back, we put up a little questionnaire on Instagram as well as on Facebook or a community post asking you what you want to ask us. And then we got a very interesting bunch of questions, and while we really wanted to sit and answer them immediately, we just didn't have the time because we were bouncing on from one country to another. And we even visited 2 brand new countries.
And we did crazy things. You guys will enjoy those videos for sure.
So you definitely need to stick around and stay subscribed on this channel. So the way we're gonna do this is I'm gonna read out the question as well as who asked for it, and then we're going to answer it in the best way we can. There will be a lot of jumbling and mumbling, so please forgive. Our first question is from Shrija. She asks, how are you and how is your journey going?
So we are fine. Thank you very much for asking.
And how are you?
How are you? So our journey so far has been great. We have done some crazy things which we never thought we would ever do. We have watched so many sunsets, eaten so many types of food, met so many friends, watched so many different landscapes.
And it's just been incredible. Like, we didn't expect, every day to be like this. We thought it'll be either like very rosy or just as dreamy as we thought it would, but clearly it's not. It's every day is very different, and some days
adapting every day to the different type of adventures.
So some days it's pretty nice, some days it's relaxing, some days it's not at all. And if you've been watching videos, you know exactly what days are been so good. So
overall, it's been really nice. We're enjoying every day. Each day is very different
fulfilling
for us. Yeah. Aparna Joshi asks, how did you manage this 150 days of traveling? Didn't you get homesick?
150 days on the road was definitely unexpected. We thought we'd go back home in like 4 months or maybe even less than that, and then again repack and re-travel. But it's been an interesting thing. Like, for one fact, I think our entire itinerary has been changing so much more than we thought it would. Like, we had a certain plan in mind and it's gone nothing like that. You'll see at the end of the Lao videos, after we got done with Laos, I think our plan has completely changed and we have arrived in countries we didn't expect to come to at all this year. So that's been one change, but at the same time, that excitement, I guess, has kept us going.
Yeah.
We haven't felt as homesick.
But we do feel homesick once in a while, especially me. Traveling like this comes with a lot of sacrifices also, like missing parents, staying away from them for so long, missing home cooked food, and missing the comfort of our own bed, our own, home. But yeah, what keeps us moving is, as he said, the new adventure which is awaiting for us.
Yeah. Also, another thing that happened was, as we finished our practice run in Andaman and Calcutta and Sikkim, we got a brief 2-week window to visit Bangalore. This was sometime in July, so we ended up taking the opportunity of going back home, spend some time there, and then also ended up eating a lot of the food that we knew we'd miss. And then we came to Thailand, again back to Calcutta and then to Thailand in the end of July.
Yeah.
And that sort of got us back into the scheme of things, and it helped us not miss home so much. Sujit Apaya asks, how are both of you doing? Do you get enough time to relax amidst all that you need to do?
That's a very thoughtful question. Thank you so much for asking. We are doing fine. Traveling like this does take a lot of effort, a lot of physical strength. Continuous travel makes us feel so tired at sometimes. So we ensure that in a week at least we have 2 or 3 days of rest to just stay back in the hotel, work on some videos and just relax a bit.
Some days it's just like, we get up late or we get up early, it doesn't matter. Some days just need to be about us, and we try really hard to make it. There is a bit of an eagerness to even go use that day, like go outside, film something, or just walk around.
Kicks in once in a while.
So managing that has been honestly hard, but there are days where we know we need to consciously take time off, which is what we do.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, it doesn't have to be Saturday and Sunday. We can now choose any day of the week to take time off. So usually we like to prioritize Mondays for that. Swapna asks, did you ever feel tired of these many days of travel? Well, like we answered in the other questions, I think there is a bit of physical tiring, and then there's the mental tiredness. Physical tiredness, you overcome with rest. Mental tiredness, I think we overcome again with this kind of rest where we just chill and don't do anything about travel or videotaping stuff.
If you have observed, we had asked you guys to ask us questions almost a few weeks back, but the last few weeks have been so jam-packed. We have visited almost 2 new countries.
Yeah.
And because of all that, we couldn't really shoot this video. And finally, now we have stopped at this new country. And we thought we will take a rest for a week. And that's why we're sitting down and shooting this
it's
video.
already been 5 days now in this country and we've done nothing. We've just traveled from one place to another and we've just camped in both places. No
and ate a lot of food.
Yeah. And there are quite a few things which keep us busy anyways, like besides the travel, it's all the back-end work that we do, making content, getting ready with the blog posts for our website.
The visa procedures for the next country.
Oh yeah, the admin work is just crazy sometimes, especially when you have an Indian passport. Real respect to everyone who travels with an Indian passport. Obviously we've traveled with Indian passports before, but traveling when you have a job and when you have to do one of these things like full-time travel, there's a big difference of how much strength your passport comes with. And I don't know, let's see. The next question is from Sunny. He asks, which was the best moment or place of your travel so far and why?
So my best moment so far has been in the Blue Lagoons in Laos. The Blue Lagoons was always my favorite place, and last time I had just jumped off from one of the tree branches into the water. Maybe it was 2 meters in height, but this time I did something really scary and something which I never thought I would do. I jumped off from the tree top to the lagoon and it was almost 5 meters in height. I was so scared and I was so freaked out, but that is still my best moment till date. But we went to another country recently and we did even more crazier things there. But I'm not going to tell what that is right now. We'll wait for you to watch the video.
That might just be our new favorite.
Yes.
I personally really enjoyed Laos too because, as much as we call it our favorite country, there's a truth behind it. It's just so beautiful. There's raw nature, there's wonderful people. I really enjoy the history and culture aspects when we are traveling. And while I really enjoyed the views from the mountains, especially Namkse viewpoint, it was more of the culture. And we just happened to be there during their version of Deepavali, which is called a Buddhist Lent. And it was just beautiful, like lights everywhere and
lamps floating on the Mekong River.
You don't get that stuff when you travel, on other days or any other month. It just so happened that we were there and we timed it without knowing, and then it was just beautiful. I really like that. Anita asks, how's the Josh?
I would say, hi sir!
So Deepti Raghuram asks, how are you figuring out your place of stays?
Yeah. So looking up for stays is generally my responsibility. What I do is I first go onto any of the booking platforms and see what stays are closer to the city center or closer to the attractions we want to visit. And then the first thing we do is sort by price and choose the lowest.
Yeah.
Once we choose the lowest, we also ensure that we read the reviews before going. Just because the price is lowest doesn't mean it's the best stay you can find. So reviews are really important.
And the second thing is, it's not just about the cheap cost. One thing to note is if you end up staying at a very cheap place, it's most likely to be quite far away from the city center, which means you'll end up paying money to travel back and forth. So finding a reasonably priced accommodation in the city center will just get you there already. You don't need to pay any money to travel or transit around, and that's a win-win.
Yeah.
The other thing is, on most days now we are sort of getting used to booking that accommodation where we're going to spend the night, usually the day before or just even the morning of that day.
Sometimes we just turn up at the property and ask, okay, we want to stay here for today, do you have a room? And then they say yes.
And that is more to do with, you get used to this when you're on the road for a while and then you sort of get the courage to do it. We would never have done this before, we were so scared. We always had to have our accommodation planned before we got to that place. During our quarterly trips.
Yeah, but now when we turn up to the place, we also get a chance to see the room before actually staying in. So if you don't like it, just go to another property.
We also don't do Airbnbs because they turn out to be a lot more expensive than, you can actually get a lot better value staying at smaller hotels, hostels, etc. where even if the price isn't in your favor, you get a lot of other value-added benefits like breakfast or so, which works out. Okay, next question. Tushar Marpaka asks, what's a difficult thing about living off a backpack always? Is there a ritual you follow to keep yourself feeling like home? I think the most difficult thing about traveling with these backpacks
Is
is
packing. Even though we have to pack like so many times in a week, it's still annoying, it's still irritating. I still don't like packing.
even though you're used to carrying fewer items, it's just as annoying to pack them into the bag,
Yeah.
and you're so happy when you know that you're going to stay in a place for more than 2 or 3 nights, because then you don't have to worry about
Spread everything.
And one other thing that we really like to use to keep things simple is to use familiar toothpaste.
Yeah.
I think Colgate or
Colgate, yeah, however expensive it is, we were used to Colgate Visible White toothpaste, and we ensure that we buy the same toothpaste in every country we go to, so that makes us feel a little homely. It's
Yeah.
the first thing we do in the morning. So
yeah, that's the first of the rituals
Yeah.
that we do. And then there's always the kind of clothes we have. As you can
Yeah.
see, we're just very normally dressed, like we'd be dressed back at home. Of course, we do have a few clothes that we'd like to use for great photos and videos,
but we just have clothes which is sufficient for just 1 week.
yeah, and,
But
and
in that set of clothes, we also have one dress which are for home clothes, which we used to wear at our home.
yeah,
which
like when you
makes us,
sleep or just
Yeah.
relaxing in the hall, whatever.
that makes us feel homely.
Charan asks, how do you manage along with just 2 backpacks? And what is your future plan? Is it just Southeast Asia, or are you planning to explore outside of it also? He also asks if we are taking extra care of our health and whether it's been difficult to adapt to new cultures and environments. Our backpacks are right now about 7 to 8 kgs each, and Shishira's also, which is
Yeah.
so surprising. But we've always been used to carrying small backpacks, even when we used to travel before with our jobs. The main thing for us this time was to make sure we don't have to buy any kind of check-in baggage, and those restrictions, we just didn't want it.
So that's why we opted for just carry-on baggages.
We also carry a bunch of other things like not clothes, which is mostly our computer, our camera gear, and a bunch of other electronics, chargers, etc.
And also we need to carry a few necessary items like rain covers,
Yeah.
umbrella, toiletries.
And we also keep doing our laundry regularly,
Yeah.
like in any place where we're staying for more than a couple of nights. We end up doing laundry there, and that keeps our clothes fresh, and we don't necessarily feel like we have to throw our old ones out.
And also when you give to the laundry, they add these nice fragrance which you really enjoy
Yeah.
once the clothes are
The
back.
comforters in Southeast Asia are like
They're
over the
amazing.
top. Our future plan, we actually don't know for sure yet. Our plan was to travel Southeast Asia for about 6 months at most. Well, we're already at the 5th month, and we still have quite a bit to see. So we initially thought that we'd be going back to India probably around this time, but looks like we'll have to wait it out and see what we're going to do. In fact, a couple of countries which were not even on our plan just snuck into our schedule, and you'll see videos of them in the next few weeks. So that was exciting. But yeah, the plan is to eventually move to other regions in the world where we can take you along and show you incredible places and cultures.
So during our trial run in Andaman, we both fell sick like in just 2 weeks of travel, and we were so shocked and scared.
Yeah.
So after that moment, we started taking extra care of what we eat, what we drink, even including water. Water is so important. We started buying mineral water. We started eating, fresh vegetables, cooked food.
Like it's there are two sides to it. Many people would say, why are you buying plastic water bottles and filling up
Yeah.
water? It's not that we do it out of a necessity. It's just that not every place offers filtered water, and having I think 1 or 2 instances where we didn't know we were drinking unfiltered water or
Yeah.
non-mineral water, we ended up falling sick. And water is one of the most easy ways you fall sick, and that's one thing we wanted to avoid. And most places we are able to find filtered water. Yeah, we go for that.
Yeah. And the other most common reason why we fall sick is hydration. If we don't drink enough water, we fall sick even more quickly.
Gastritis also.
So, but now I think we have gotten better at it.
And I think this answers how we've gotten used to this new culture and environment. I think to all the earlier answers we said also, one, not having had our old routine but having developed this new crazy all over the place sort of routine, having familiar things like our clothes, our toothpaste, etc. helps. And then obviously we talk to each other and sort of bring each other up when the other one is in a very confused state.
Yeah.
I think all of these things help us in adapting to everyday life on the go. The one major component of settling into full-time travel has been the food.
Yeah.
As vegetarians, it's not been very easy, but the world has changed a lot in the last 4 years. Like when we came to Southeast Asia for the first time in 2017, we definitely struggled a lot more. This time
Yeah.
it was more easier because a lot of people are now aware of vegetarianism and veganism as concepts. So a lot of restaurants are prepared, and they like in Southeast Asia it's very hard. Like you might not even identify that there is shrimp paste in your chili sauce, but these days you can identify because the one who's making the food will most likely be aware that you would get uncomfortable when you're saying no meat, no fish, no.
So they
Just
generally ask for each item they put in our dish. And also there are a few apps which have been quite helpful for us. For example, the Happy Cow app.
Yeah.
So it gives us a list of all the vegetarian places available. And
not that we use it so much. We should
but
probably use it more.
Yeah, it's quite helpful.
Gurpreet Singh asks, what is one travel hack you learned only after traveling full time?
A very interesting question. Let's think about it.
We've been thinking about it for a very long time.
This has been the most difficult question for us.
Because we so subconsciously have this new style of doing certain things, we didn't realize that those could potentially be hacks themselves. So I've written down. Wait. So there's two hacks. I mean, in our videos, we always put up details of the costs associated with whatever we do. So you have a general idea as to what the lowest price is, because that's what we try to find.
Yeah.
But one thing we've learned is in certain regions like Southeast Asia, for instance, you have to shamelessly bargain.
Yeah.
There's no other way. Like there are many people who say, you're traveling, it's a less rich country compared to yours, and these are mostly people from more privileged countries who say it.
Yeah.
Coming from India, I think we're all in relatable societies, so we have a fair idea of what is overpriced. Like at least on most days, there are days when it it just goes aside, but it's important to bargain. And most often prices are inflated like 100%, like double. So you start at 50% and meet somewhere at
60 to 70% they come around. Yeah.
And usually it works because people in Southeast Asia, they're very nice, like they're very welcoming. Even in India, they're very nice and welcoming, and usually nobody says no to your bargaining. Of course, in the conversation of back and forth while you bargain, you will notice to what degree that other person is going to bend. But you need to be conscious that at some point you don't break their backs. And when you draw that line, you can definitely enjoy taking your money a lot further, and at the same time not making problems for somebody's livelihood.
And also what we learned was we never bargained for exchanges before. Like when we exchanged currency, we never bargained before, but now we actually bargain for that as well.
Yeah, so that's one important thing you can do. So the other hack that we found out is that when you're really hungry and you're scared about the quality of food, the hygiene, etc., and you're very unfamiliar with the place, the first thing you can do is just find the nearest school and go look for shops around it.
They usually have ice cream stalls, fruit salad stalls.
Even if they're just pushcart vendors on the street, but if they're in front of the school.
Yeah, they're always healthy because they don't want to upset the health of the kids in the school.
Yeah, so we've found that in many places, and that actually happened to be so delicious, and it didn't upset us in the tummy one bit, and the prices were also very reasonable because they're made for local kids, not even tourists. This collection is interesting. It's about work. Saukya Suhas asks, also, what do you guys do for a living? Where do you guys work? 150 days on toes. And Sid and Wazi ask, how are you managing work? Antara asks, are you still working full time? We just put these three questions together because it's only one answer.
Until May 2022, when we started full-time travel, we both had full-time jobs. We were working as auditors. I was working with a consulting firm, and now we used to work with an investment bank. So after working for 10 years, we finally thought it was high time we took a break. And from May 2022 onwards, we are full-time travelers.
For this lifestyle, we've been working really hard on our two YouTube channels. This one in English and the other one in Kannada. And we also have our travel blog, which if you haven't read, it's linked down below. We've been publishing there for 5 years, but we never really took it seriously as a full-time thing. It was more of a hobby where we, published some of our photography and made free travel guides to make, travel to interesting places more easy for whoever wanted to go. and our theme has predominantly remained the same. We still do budget travel like we did before, and we're hoping that in the next couple of months this will get us on our feet and we can start earning so while we're still growing towards sustaining our ability to travel full time, there's something that you can help us with too, and that is by watching these videos and sharing these with your friends and family. Each share, comment, like, whatever you do goes a long way, because then YouTube knows that our video is helping someone or is entertaining someone, and then YouTube can show that to more people.
And we're also so thankful for each and every one of you who turn up every other day and spend your 10 minutes just watching our video. We are so thankful and grateful for you guys.
And if you enjoy watching our videos, there's another way you can support us. You can buy us a coffee right here. So you can check out this link, and then I don't drink coffee. Shishra really likes her coffees, but I can still drink cola, Milo, Bonvita, any of that stuff. So Sagar Pai asks, how's the rat race looking in the rear view mirror? Yeah, I think the rat race does look, it does feel a little more relieving to be in this space than to be in the corporate rat race even now. I think it was a very intense thing for us, especially in the kind of career paths we had as auditors. Things are extremely busy. 14-hour work days are not uncommon, and sometimes, like in our previous employers, like there have been many days that we've had to work weekends as well. So
yeah, there were weeks where I wouldn't see him until a Saturday or a Sunday. He would be off to his work even before I got up, and the only time I could notice him was just in the middle of the night when he would just sleep and go back early in the morning.
And there were days when Shishra had to work weekends, so I'd be enjoying my day off, and then she would still be working on the computer. So it was a very weird lifestyle, and I think we spent nearly all of our 20s doing that.
And we were so used to just waiting and living on the weekends, we did not quite enjoy it so much.
Yeah, and we figured before we exit the 20s, this was our one last chance to do this, and we decided to take the leap. It's not been easy. There are many days when we really miss the creature comforts of life around this corporate lifestyle. But then
the monthly salaries,
especially that, and
the
then
fixed schedule,
and then the simplicity of just having to get up and go on your way, and come back home and you have a familiar place to stay. All of that doesn't exist anymore. It's much more challenging. And while we were really scared to come out of that, I think right now we have grown a lot more flexible. I think that's the biggest change we see in ourselves. And then, not having that stable income is really pushing us to do a little bit more, a little bit better. And,
we always try to do something new, something different with our videos, something more creative.
Yeah, which is so unheard of for people in our line of work. Auditors don't really do that much
Auditors
of new
are
stuff.
not fun people.
On most days, but my friends, you guys are fun. She didn't say that you guys are not fun.
Yes.
Saket asks, are you missing CDAs? Well, CDAs were a certain kind of documentation that my teammates and I would prepare in my job as an auditor, and it was very detailed documentation of certain risk and control frameworks, which was the thing to do when you're an auditor. And it was like a lengthy document, but yeah, it's nice to not be preparing those every day.
So, but now we have a different type of list which we prepare. We have checklists for each YouTube video. We have a checklist for blog posts going up. So I can say that
Yeah, so CDAs might have left, but documentation is still there.
Still there.
And one thing we'd like to credit our old jobs and our whatever time we spent at our old companies is that I think a lot of that culture has really come into how we operate every day, and that is really nice, because so far we've been consistent with what we're doing only because of those habits we developed there. So
I think they trained us really well.
Yes, that was unexpected. I know a few of my managers are watching this, so you probably didn't expect to see this coming. Thank you so much. Okay, now we come to the very last category, which is
finances.
Okay, so the first question is from Miss Jo. She says, "Hi, nice to see someone living the dream. Any tips on how much to save monthly for starting long trips?" So I think for doing long trips, first probably you need to figure out how much time you get off, and based on that you decide how far you're willing to go. It definitely makes a lot more sense if you can combine multiple countries or multiple destinations into one longish trip instead of splitting it up into two parts at separate times during the year. If money is the only thing, obviously your schedule is something that precedes that as well.
So there are 5 major expenses you will incur on any trip. First is the flight, next is your stay, next is your transport, then comes your food, and then sightseeing. So just do a little bit of research and just estimate what budget you will have to spend on each of these categories.
And in fact, like if you want an idea of it, we've just linked down below our cost sheet we've been publishing from when we left home in May 22. So that can give you a general idea of what these expenses are like as a percentage to the overall.
Yeah.
And if you and we are anywhere similar, I mean, you're watching our videos, so you'd know if there are any similarities we share. Maybe that could give you an idea of what to expect, and then you can budget accordingly. Southeast Asia is definitely a lot cheaper than, say, traveling in Europe or the Middle East. If you're traveling from the US, your money goes very, very far in this part of the world. South Asia is even better, but you definitely need some practice before you get to Southeast Asia. I think starting with Southeast Asia and then going there it makes things easier, especially when it comes to traveling on a budget, and you'll be able to get a lot more value for your money.
So when it comes to saving monthly, we literally saved everything we could. We never spent on any luxuries in life.
Yeah.
We saved almost 60 to 70% of whatever we earned. We never spent on any luxuries or fancy parties. We never bought anything fancy for our home either. We just spent for the necessities, food.
And we didn't really have habits that would require discretionary spending as such. So that I think saves a lot. And over time, that sort of built up and it became our, a little piggy bank that we could use to do this. So if you're, planning on doing longer trips, then a great way to, start is, can you save maybe 30% of what you earn in a fund? Like if travel is one of your top priorities and you want to do it as often as you can, then that's a good number to start with. Of course, there are different challenges associated with where you live and the costs of living there. But if you can manage to save somewhere around this, I think you should definitely be able to travel far and long for at least an extended period of time.
So we might have heard people say, oh, traveling is so expensive, but we are here to break that myth. Traveling is possible even on a budget. We value the experiences we make, the experiences we create rather than,
the tickets we buy and the attractions we visit. So, you can always experience those places even more for just, taking a walk in the neighborhood than to go to a paid ticketed attraction. So, you can take advantage of these things and you then don't even need as much money as you thought you would to, travel. And again, going back to the expense sheet that we publish, I think that will give you a fair idea of how much value we are able to extract from what little money we've spent so far. Of course, that will change when we go to more pricey regions. Like Southeast Asia so far has been favorable in that sense, and the inflation due to the recent world events hasn't been helpful, but it's okay. Like we're sort of trying to manage. Okay, Sai Prashanti asks, how do you fund your travel? Is it all savings and don't you miss home? Yeah, we do miss home sometimes, but I think right now the focus is so much on doing
making this work. If we are able to be successful in this, I think our lifestyle will change. So far, whatever we have spent on our travel is purely from our own savings.
Yeah,
we haven't started earning yet from YouTube or from our blog. So once we are able to monetize that, I think we'll be much more comfortable.
Yeah, right now we are still very nervous. On many days we no longer have the salary coming in at the end of every month, right? So it's not very pleasant on the last Friday. We are anxious, and then we have this habit of updating our finance tracker at the end of every month. So
at the last day of every month, we sit and we write down all the investments we have made, all the amount sitting in our savings account, and then we see how much is there
and how much has disappeared from the last month. We had done the same entry, so it's definitely causing some anxiety. But we're hoping that, and with your support, like soon we'll be able to get over this. Chala Vinod asks, how do you manage your money? How is it possible? Where did you get it?
We got it from all the hard work we have been putting
Yeah.
in for the last 10 years and all the sacrifices we have made and all the things we have let go of.
So yeah, it's been difficult, and I'm sure most of us are not too different.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you're doing something similar too, like you're saving for your dreams and whatnot.
We come from middle class families and
There is like this. Some people
Yeah.
have even gone to the extent of asking us, and this hasn't happened on our Q&A session so far, but in person, a few people have asked, like, did your parents give you the money to do this? What lottery did you hit that you couldn't afford to do this? Well, it's one thing we want to make very clear is that our parents are middle class parents. Just like we are middle class as a couple ourselves, just like most of you are, and it's money doesn't get handed down like that for things like this. Coming from a typical Asian Indian family, full-time travel is seen as vacation, not as a lifestyle choice. So our parents definitely weren't very eager to see us do this in the beginning.
and still aren't. I'm very sure of that.
It was a risk that we had to take, and to be able to do that and not risk somebody else's wealth, nobody's going to give you that money, right? So we obviously worked for a very long time, very hard, and tried to save as much as we could, only so that we could do this. And we have, we budgeted a portion of our savings to give this a go for at least a year and then see where it takes us. Shripati asks, what's the source of funding, and suggest some tips on how you're managing funds and finances.
So the source of funding is our savings, and managing funds so far, I think we should still manage it better and then answer
Yeah.
this question. I don't think we're doing
We're
a
not
great
doing a
job
great job.
at that as of now.
But one thing we do every day is to religiously put down all of the expenses that we incurred for that day in a little
Yeah.
tracker, and we use this to look at every week, every month's expenses, so we get an idea of how our spending is going on, whether we have to address overspending in any categories, or if we are somehow under the budget, then there's a party fund available we can put to good use. And most
So, yeah,
often that's where Shishira buys like a hat or something and loses it. And
Or Nami just overeats his ice cream with that fund. And colas.
Anyways, that goes to bloopers.
No, it doesn't go to bloopers.
I think putting together our expenses every single day and knowing
Yeah.
actively what we're spending on, and then the month-end computation of how much we're at, what our savings look like, how much we have pulled out of our accounts to use during the month. All of that gives
Sure.
us like a perspective.
Yeah, it's like a check for us every day to see where we are.
Vikram Reddy asks how you get money while traveling. Well, right now we're still waiting. We are also looking to get answers to that question.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next Q&A session we might have something more valuable to share with you.
Hopefully.
So let's wait and see. Ganesh V says, cute couple, how both are you balancing traveling, money, if there is any job, family, etc. Well,
Thank you for saying that we're a cute couple.
I thought it was just me.
No, it's a couple. It's
Okay.
you and me.
Okay.
We used to have jobs before. Right now, making videos on YouTube is our full-time job, and publishing free travel guides on our website is our full-time job now.
Yeah, so family-wise,
Family.
we are both single children, so we used to stay on our own, but very close to our parents, even though we lived in the same city. It was more because our work was very demanding, so we were on our own. So we've sort of been used to, being just the two of us, and we have our set routines in that way. We do speak with our parents
Every
every day on the phone, and then get in touch with my friends, her friends whenever they're free. So it's been not that much of a change, really, we could say. Of course, we've just been away from home a lot longer than a week or two, right?
So what we miss most is like we could just take an Uber or just go visit our parents.
Yeah.
It was just so easy for us to visit our parents. It was just an hour away or half an hour away
if
from
we
our
had to
home.
meet our friends, it was maybe like a call and what's the weekend scene looking like, but now it's obviously not possible. So
Yeah, we miss that.
yeah, but yeah, we are hoping
WhatsApp
that
video calls have been quite helpful in that way.
but we're hoping that once we complete Southeast Asia and we get to go back home, we take a little bit of a break and then
Yeah.
spend some time getting things back to normal, and then again head out to a new region. So this was a very long Q&A, and
Hope we answered all your questions. If you have more, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. We will answer them for sure.
and if we have messed up and rambled on and on about certain questions,
Please forgive us because this
Yeah.
has been our first time doing a Q&A session.
even on Instagram when we would do Q&As, like ask me anything with those question
Yeah.
boxes,
It used to be a written.
Yeah,
We never
so-
really spoke.
and the screen had finite space, like you couldn't write more than 2 lines or
Yeah.
3 lines, but this time it's just been
Given
on
us
and
more
on.
chance to ramble.
Yeah, but all of these questions were something that some of it we expected, some of it were very thoughtful, we didn't see it coming.
Very interesting questions too.
Yeah, and hopefully you'll stay tuned and really enjoy what is to come, because it's an
We are
exciting
so
journey.
excited already because I am editing the next country's videos now and I'm already so excited for it. I can't wait for you guys to watch it. So stay tuned. There's a lot more coming up. There's a lot more adventures which are going to come up.
And a lot more,
We don't know. Stay tuned.
and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Hungry now.
Shall we make Maggie?
You know what? Like,
Yeah.
most of you are back home in India, so why don't you order Bel Puri on us?
Yeah.
And then and why don't you order some Bel Puri and tell us how amazing it must be?
We miss
Because
the churmuris.
we're not getting it here, no matter where we go. And
There's
we're
no
not going to
price.
pay $10 for a Bel Puri because it's an exotic dish in some fancy Indian restaurant. We miss, the 30 rupee ones.
Golgappas.
That too.
Yep.
Dahi Puri.
Lemon rice the most.
Then masala dosa with chutney pudi powder on it.
Puliyogre with kadlekai and kothambri.
Idli chutney and vade from Shichi Sambar. Shichi Hotel. Nandini meals.
Peda.
No, Nandini meals and then Nandini milk peda. And then
Rasam rice.
North Karnataka meals from Kamath.
Blue lace packet and also green lace packet.
Oh yeah, but blue
With
lace packet we
curd
got
rice.
the other day in that Indian
Yeah.
shop here. The only place we found in all these months of traveling, one
Yeah.
place.
Then what
What
else
else?
we miss?
Congress Kadlekai from JB Bakery, Nati Nagar. If you haven't tried, you should try it out.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, not sponsored indeed.
Then.
Swiggy, if you're watching this, I know it's been a tough 6 months, but
I know we get notifications on us with the app telling, oh, missing
We
in
used to-
action.
we used to spend every day together, every day, 3 times a day some days, 2 times a day on most others.
Swiggy was our best friend
But
for
now-
getting food from the restaurants or from our moms.
But now we have moved on to Grab and Food Panda. So please don't feel bad.
And the local apps you were.
Maybe we'll come back, and then spend a month with you, and then let's
We
see.
can catch up. Carl has become known.
I think this is the longest we have sat. We thought about
No,
this.
do this. Let's think about it.
Let's think about it.
Wait.
Ask if I want to take this, then I take this, or you want to take this, I will
What are
ask.
we? No, you take it.
Okay. Then ask me if I want to take.
Do you want to take this?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay, do that. And it's obviously difficult because what was I trying to say? Yeah, so like Shishra, add if you feel otherwise, or Shishra, add if
No,
I miss.
not it, but I
Okay.
will add.
We don't update now, we won't. Yeah.
And do that again. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Very cringeworthy stuff. Bye.